Hi, welcome back to the Tarot Genie, where you receive intuitive, insightful answers from the tarot to your burning questions about business, career, entrepreneurship, personal development, spirituality, and more. Hi, I'm Laura, and this week we're going to ask the tarot, as I get my cards and start shuffling, we're going to ask the tarot the question of how do you find and apply and really work your particular zone of genius. Apparently, according to one author, and as always, I have a book to recommend. This book is by Hendricks. It's called The Big Leap. The Big Leap, Conquer Your Hidden Fear and Take Your Life to the Next Level. I've read this book and has a lot of useful advice. One of the advice I'm still trying to apply is the attitude or the expression of time, consideration of how to use time more effectively, how we value time and use it to our best advantage. That area that's a little challenge I'm working with, as always, and I know we've addressed that before. But in essence, what Hendricks advises us to do is really look for, identify, and work to best ability with most of our time dedicated to our particular zone of genius. The areas in which we are especially good, where we have a unique capability. It's not just something that we are good at. For example, years ago, starting at the age of 11 and a half, I took typing, and I became, over the next few years, took lots of typing classes, did typing for many years, and a lot of when I was starting out in jobs. And you could say, well, I was a good typist, that's a skill. Well, yes, that's a skill I was good in, but was that my zone of genius? No, it definitely was not my zone of genius. It was not an area in which yes, I could do it very well, but it wasn't, I could not find my unique expression. And I believe that what Hendricks is talking about is the area in which you have a unique expression and also a particular strong capability. We're going to do the 3-card spread today, and in considering this question of how do you find and how do you make sure that you are working in your zone of genius. The first card will represent the situation, what insights about this you need to be aware of. Second card will represent what you most need to know, especially if there's something that you have not been aware of that may be holding you back from your zone of genius. Perhaps it's fears or feeling like, you have to focus on earning a living and you can't work in your zone of genius. And then finally, the third card will represent the suggested action to take, to move forward and being able to the greatest extent possible, work in your zone of genius. I'm going to continue shuffling these cards till I feel a ding, and I think I just did. So put them to the side. The rest of the cards. And let's see what the tarot advises this week. Card number 1, the situation, what you need to be aware of. How apropos. I love the Magician, is one of my other favorite cards, if you're not aware. This is reversed though. But upright, the Magician is the number 1 card in the Major Arcana. It's the first starting card, although we have the Fool at 0. And what I love about this card, actually this card is one of my birth cards. There's a way of going about the tarot, which I do provide tarot readings on this, as far as finding out what corresponds, the cards in the tarot that correspond to your birth date and to your basic path in life. But today, the card is reversed in response to the question situation. Now, what I feel this is saying is, if we're asking the question, how do you discover and operate primarily in your zone of genius? Well, for me, this is saying, turn within and tune within. And it takes some time apart. Now here, normally when this is upright, it appears that the Magician is instructing. I often see him as giving a class or giving some type of training to others where he is connecting the divine with the material realm. But given that this position, we called it the situation and what you need to be aware of, to me it's suggesting that to discover and to really hone in on your zone of genius, you really need to turn within and deeply meditate on your various skills, your various gifts, which are all represented by here. We have the cups, the coins, the swords, and the wands. All the elements of the tarot are on the magician's table. And I believe what the tarot is advising us today is that you need to turn within and tune within to be able to discern which of these, or maybe it's a combination, a unique combination of these elements, make up your true zone of genius. And you need to tackle this with passion, as represented by his red robe, and you need to trust that you will find the answer. You will be illuminated. You have an infinite, we have that infinity sign, ability to do this. But this suggests to me, given that it's reversed, is that you need to take some time and truly turn within and tune within to discover and to really hone in on what your zone of genius is. Second card represents the things that might be blocking you in discovering your zone of genius or in operating in your zone of genius. And here we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. Now, what's interesting here, these are both reversed cards, and just look at how similar the colors are in here, especially the illuminated yellow background. Now, pages represent youthful energy, and they also can suggest a message. And what we have when this is upright, we see the Page of Coins or Pentacles is gazing, focusing intently on this particular coin. And he's got this red, I forget what you call this, red cap of some sort. It's almost like a turban, that's what it is, a turban, a red turban, and he's gazing intently. He's out in nature, out in this beautiful, bucolic countryside. But since this is reversed, this is suggesting to me that what may be getting in your way is that, and coins representing finances, money or cash, material resources, is that you may be too focused on money issues and whether you're going to be able to make money, profit from your zone of genius. Because of course that's a concern. We do have to make a living, we do have to generate income. But what this is suggesting to me in response to what you might need to know, what might be blocking you, is that you may have this youthful energy and vibrancy, but somehow at some level you're doubting that it's going to generate the income that you'd really like to generate. This is a common excuse, a plausible rationale for not pursuing something, or so it would appear from the logical side, logical mind. So that's one possibility that you may need to be aware of. Are you holding yourself back because you're focused mainly on, is this going to bring me money? And then finally, the action, suggested action for you to take to move toward operating more frequently in your zone of genius and to making your commitment to that. The suggested action, well, for me, this is saying you need to set up a priority, you need to set up a time to reflect. The coins here could represent the various elements of your life, all the responsibilities you have, your financial picture, your family responsibilities. They're all things that are key tasks and responsibilities for you in the material world. To discover and to really move forward in your zone of genius, you may need to prioritize, but you need to pause, tap into the power of the pause, take time out and reflect. What is really important for you, and what harvest have you reaped so far that is worth keeping, that is not worth keeping, etc., that's not worth maintaining? This to me is a clear message to take time to pause and really sort out your priorities if you want to be able to move forward into that zone of genius and to make that where you spend most of your time. In conclusion, how do you go about discovering and operating from your zone of genius most of the time? Well, you need to turn within and tune in to really reflecting on your various skills and capabilities and coming up with what you feel, where you create magic. And the magic always starts from within, so I think that's what this reversal is amplifying, is that the magic comes from within you, and so you've got to sort it out by taking some time within to meditate on this. And then secondly, don't just think about whether you've been holding yourself back. Be aware of this, because you are too focused on whether your zone of genius may generate money right away. Think about that and see how you could resolve that. You know, maybe there's a way you could operate or dedicate a certain amount of time every day to your zone of genius, even if you can't operate in it full time at the moment. But go about thinking, you know, what has held you back? Is it the money? Is it that concern? And finally, think about and reflect on all that you've done so far and how you can make room for, you know, really meditate on this for this zone of genius. It may mean moving things around, letting some things go, and reflect on where you've come so far up to this point and how you can move forward. I hope you've enjoyed this reading today. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. As always, I will include a piece of music. I have not selected the particular piece quite yet, although I know it's going to be a piece from Mozart. Because Mozart, there are many studies that have shown that you can increase your brain power, etc., by listening to Mozart. So I thought that would be an appropriate selection for this week. And next week, we will be tackling the subject of how to create a project that is brand new and is a breakthrough in all you do. Until next time, illumine your mind, inspire your life with the tarot.